Welcome to the Hey Mama Homeschool Show, centered around family life and home education. How do you get homeschooling and housework done? How do you help children who are struggling? How do you teach a rebellious child? We have answers. You pour into your family daily, and we are here to help you. Brought to you by the Old Schoolhouse, your trusted partner for over 20 years.
Hey there, welcome to the Hey Mama Homeschool Show. I'm Steph Morrison with the Old Schoolhouse, and I'm here to share a bit on the topic of online learning. We're going to talk a little bit about the benefits, a little bit about the variety, the things to watch out for when you're choosing online learning platforms. As with all our episodes, you can go to homeschoolshow.com to see more on this topic in our show notes. This is episode 89, so that helps you find that a little bit easier. You're going to find links there to articles, some that I mentioned in this episode, but also other ones that are just related to this topic across all our websites of the Old Schoolhouse. You're also going to get resources from schoolhouseteachers.com. We have lots of free stuff on there, so you don't have to be a member. But if you are looking for a full curriculum platform, or if you are already a member, you're going to see links to certain courses there. And even those links to courses, even when you're not a member, you're able to see what those courses are about. You just wouldn't have access to actually get the materials for the course. So go and check that out if you're not familiar with Schoolhouse Teachers. It may be a platform that's great for your family. Our show today is sponsored by Oak Brook College of Law. This is where students are taught from a biblical and constitutional perspective and equipped to make an impact in the fields of law, business, and public policy. You can learn more about what they offer at www.obcl.edu. So that is the letters of their name there, Oak Brook College of Law. So the website again, obcl.edu. Go and see what they have to offer in the area of learning about law, business, and public policy. Our home education highlight that I want to share with you, I like to share these on all the episodes that I host, and just that general highlight of educating our own kids, because there are so many reasons to be thankful. And you may have started homeschooling for one reason, but if you're like me, I almost find a new good reason to be educating my boys year after year after year. So the highlight today is that kids benefit from an individualized education geared to their learning style. And that ties right into our topic of online learning, because some learning styles are particularly geared to online learning approaches. And it's not just about the screen, although that can be a very good way to engage our learners. So let's look first at the benefits of online education. The first I have here is that it's easily accessible as long as you have an internet connection and a computer of some sort. I mean, definitely a laptop, desktop is much better for learning, but even there's so many learning platforms that work on tablets and smartphone devices as well. So those are always options, and that even easily accessible is like your kids can be learning quite easily on the go when they are just able to use a tablet and a phone. So that is probably what I think is the top benefit of online education, is that it's easy to take. You just pick up that device and it goes anywhere, and it's easy to access online. You don't have to worry about books. You don't have to worry about printouts. There can be resources that go along with online learning that are physical, but for the most part, it's still just an easily accessible approach to education. And sometimes a lot cheaper than actually buying physical products. So either cheaper, so many free platforms, so many online learning that is free out there. Not that I've found you could really give a full education, but some of those subjects are covered really nicely in some of the free apps and websites that are out there. So my second benefit here is that it's generally interactive and engaging. So that's that benefit of of the screen. And even just the pixels of a screen make it very engaging. Just that alone, whether you're a child, an adult, doesn't matter. That screen can really draw on your attention. And especially when it's for learning, that way that a screen can engage your learner can be really helpful. And again, that's a lot more geared to what their learning style is, not just to get them attached to the screen, but some people, it's just easier to focus when it's something where you have that interactivity. You're using a mouse, you're using a keyboard, and depending on the approach, depending on the teaching style of that platform, of that website, of whatever the online education is, it's generally a great way to engage your kids. There's also a wide range of teaching techniques. So there's not really just one teaching approach or say learning style that encompasses all online learning. There's really, depending again, what your kid's learning style is and how their brain works to learn, there is probably an online learning option that you can use. So not only teaching techniques that are just from the platform or perhaps using a live teacher, so using online learning so that you can actually have personal connections online so the teacher's teaching. So again, it really covers kind of the full gamut of teaching approaches. And the fourth benefit I have here is that the live classes offer a personal connection with the teacher and other students. There are lots of online options, sometimes even whole online schools that homeschoolers do have their kids enrolled in. And so you can still get that personal interaction. You can have one-on-one time with a teacher or even as a tutor and be able to have your children experience still that personal communication in an online atmosphere. So to use online learning platforms or not is a personal choice. It's a choice for you as the parent and as you're assessing what's best for how you administer the education to your kids and how your kids are receiving it is really up to you. I really encourage a little bit of online education to most people because again, there's so many different options and great learning technology that's out there for online education. Variety is the spice of education is kind of the next few points I'm going to make about. So I just want to mention our show sponsor again, Oak Brook College of Law. That is definitely adding a nice spice of education in there. Again, Oak Brook College of Law is teaching from a biblical and constitutional perspective. And they're covering different subjects like law, business, and public policy. Their website really goes through a lot of what they're offering. So go check that out at www.obcl.edu. So online learning can provide a superior education, but with so many learning experiences to be had, it should not be the sole source of education. I experienced probably, 5 or 6 years ago, I actually found that when I really assessed what we were doing for learning, where our educational resources were coming from, it's like I realized like almost everything was online and it kind of just naturally progressed that way. I found this great program for math. I found this great program for, language arts and this great program for social studies and whatever the subject was. And it just ended up that everything was more or less my children had to open up a screen and look at that to do the education. And it's not actually that anything was, I didn't think they were necessarily not learning on those platforms, but I just wanted to still have that paper and them using a pencil, improving penmanship. There's just so many things that our kids should be learning, even if it doesn't seem like the norm in the world. There is so many things they should be learning. I'm a big advocate of cursive. I like cursive writing. I know they don't offer that in most schools, or at least around where I am, and I'm in Canada here, but I don't think they offer that in the States either, really in public education as much anymore, where you're learning cursive writing. And perhaps it's because I just like the creative aspect and that you can write quicker when you're using cursive. besides that, there's just so many benefits to how the brain is working when they're just needing to output information through their hand and through a pencil or a pen, or that there's just more discussion within the family, more opportunity to create great relationships. That is probably my number one thing of why home education is so great. It's just the strong family relationships that you can develop. And even when things are rocky, even when not everybody's getting along, and of course that happens, and between siblings, between parents and kids, and all that still happens because, hey, we're human, right? So I have a few ideas for you to consider on just adding in that variety. So again, I talked about that little bit of I just felt like there was too much online stuff, and it wasn't that the online stuff wasn't effective or I didn't just like those platforms anymore. It's just I wanted more variety in what I was providing my boys for education. So make changes in your learning routine. So year to year, month to month, whatever it is. Don't just stay with the same old. Oh, this is the course we took last year. This is what we're going to continue with. That can totally be good for a while. And you know what? It can totally be good. I'm not saying that you need to switch from, if you got a certain curriculum, you may want to use the majority of that curriculum all the way through. But I also want to put in there that beauty of electives. And electives are something where even if you do have a curriculum that you like and you just want to follow that through year to year with all those, especially those main core subjects, that you want to be able to also offer your children different types of learning, different types of teaching, different types of education atmospheres. And I think one of the greatest benefits to do that, and why I recommend that, is because that's what real life is. We're not given one thing as we get into adulthood, and whether it's into jobs or whether we're doing entrepreneurial things or into education, post-secondary education, it is not all the same year after year after year. There is so much adapting that we need to do, and most of kids by nature are very good at adapting, but we don't want them to get stuck in that rut of, no, this is just always the way it was, and it's really hard to make change because life is full of changes. So just that life skill of, hey, we're going to change things up and just add this different chorus, this different learning platform, this different experience that we're going to do this year. Whatever it is, just make changes from year to year for sure. And don't be afraid to do it from month to month. If you just find a really good experience or learning approach or something like that, and you want to try it out, just, decide, hey, I'm going to put that in for next month, and we're going to try this new thing next month. So even if a child is enrolled in an online school, provide them offline learning activities. There are quite a few options that homeschoolers can take advantage of, where pretty much all the learning and the teaching is done in an online platform. A lot of them have teachers actually, actual people, teachers, either reviewing your children's work, or there's live classes where the teaching is being done. And as the parent, you're maybe not doing as much of the real teaching, in that you're putting out the material that they're learning. But I encourage you to be that teacher in their life still. You're still taking on their education and administering their education, even if you choose an online learning platform that kind of does all the teaching. But give them activities, do stuff together. For one thing, I think teaching our kids creates a really close bond. And again, sometimes our kids are not very agreeable or cooperative. At times, that's a bit of the variety we get in life as well. As our kids age and mature, there are struggles and there are challenges that we need to overcome. So we want to be sensitive to that for sure. But we want to also provide that change that they need, and that's going to come from you. So again, that the biggest point is, especially if you're using an online platform for pretty much all the teaching, get in some teaching experiences that are, more formal teaching experiences. And it can be as awesome and as simple as just the field trips, just the going to museums, to going to events, to going to different places where you can just have discussions with your children about what they're learning. Online learning platforms come in various forms, as you probably know. So do your research and connect with homeschoolers that have used the platforms through personal connections and reviews. So we have a website, homeschoolfinds.com, and there you can find tons of reviews on tons of different products for homeschooling families. And a lot of them, well, maybe not a lot, but anyway, some of them are about these online learning platforms. And these are really great reviews, that are from homeschool moms, homeschool parents, but mostly moms, and that they are using these platforms with their kids. So you're going to see some great pictures on what it is. You're going to see what their experience is with their children, especially on the ages, and some of their opinion on how well it worked. So then you can also check out homeschool groups, so groups online. And if you're part of any of those, you can sometimes even just search the group, because lots of people have asked questions before on either certain platforms, or just asking in general, what do you do for this subject or that subject? So in those books, specifically, I'm thinking on Facebook, there's a whole lot of homeschool groups on Facebook. So go and look at those, search for maybe something you're looking into, or just ask the questions, make a post where you're asking about this platform, and do your research with the company first, see what it's like, and then have your questions ready. It is actually really hard, though, to know how well a platform works for you, and more importantly for your kids, just from what they offer on their website. It's not until you really get using it and get that flow of it where you see, oh, this works good or not. And lots offer trials or just, money back kind of guarantees. But for online learning, again, there's just so many different approaches, and they are not all created equal. Lots of really good quality stuff out there, though. So online learning definitely does work. And I also do want to make a short mention about so there was a time a few years ago, 2020, 2021, when public schools offered online learning. And some people, in the homeschooling world here, we call it school at home. It was not homeschooling at all. It wasn't really great. It wasn't even to the quality or to the superior delivery of that teaching that the online learning platforms that are popular and that are well established for homeschooling families, they didn't even do it that way. I kind of wondered sometimes, did they consult, these companies that have actually been doing this for, years and years, decades, some of them. And of course, moving along with technology within what's available in computers and online, learning management systems and all that kind of thing. So I just want to say that online learning that happened through public schools is not at all what online learning is that's available for parents that are educating their kids. For one thing, as the parent, you are the one administering the education, so you actually get to choose what's great. And I think some of those things, that was really hard. It was such a horrible learning approach for the way some of those minds work, which is also the way public education is even when kids go to school. The way that public education is administered is not at all in line with the way that some kids learn. My final point here is don't forget to live the educational life with your child. Online learning platforms are great, and they can take a lot of the burden of just making sure you're providing a quality education off of you, especially if that's something that you feel that not really confident in. There are online learning platforms that will pretty much do the teaching for you. In fact, I've often said that. I don't actually do a whole lot of teaching myself. I more learn along with my kids for some of the stuff we're doing. And there may be a couple subjects that I teach a little bit more, sometimes with the guidance still of curriculum, just because I'm personally knowledgeable in that subject. But there are the majority of the subjects that my kids have that I don't necessarily teach in. I follow the teacher's guide, or I follow the lesson plan, and I just administer the education. And so that's what I encourage for you. If you're just considering and you're listening to this episode, and maybe you're not homeschooling yet because either your kids are younger or you're just exploring this opportunity. I call it a rewarding responsibility of educating your kids. If you're just exploring what that looks like, know that there are so many resources that make it easy for anybody to start right away. And many of those are very high quality online learning platforms. We release episodes every Monday, so here are the next few episodes coming up. Episode 90 is teaching a foreign language, and you will actually hear my voice again on that one. How do you homeschool while working? That's episode 91, and Christine Weller is going to share on that, and she is a great homeschooling mom and a working mom. I work with her on several different projects, and I know that she's going to have a lot to share. In fact, I'm probably going to have to listen to that one because I bet she's going to give me a few tips. And then our episode 92 is Little Rebels Need Nurture and Consistency. And that's hosted by Deborah Wooler. And she has a lot of talks going to homeschool conferences, and I know she has talks regularly about rebels and dealing with those rebellious children, because even the great rewarding responsibility of homeschooling does not take away the rebelliousness and the challenges that come with raising children. That's really just our parenting thing. But hey, I find parenting much easier when I get to educate my kids as well. They've really just got my influence. And really, if you've got a rebellious child, then having them at home is the best place for them.
Did you know that SchoolhouseTeachers.com is the curriculum division of the old Schoolhouse? With your Schoolhouse Teachers membership, your family has access to hundreds of courses with a biblical worldview. And your membership comes with access to Worldbook Online, plus over 25,000 streaming family videos. We offer self-paced homeschooling for every grade. Learn more at SchoolhouseTeachers.com.
I thank you for listening today to the Hey Mama Homeschool Show. I'm just going to close off the episode in thanks to God. Lord, I thank you for this opportunity to share what I know, to share what we have through the old Schoolhouse, and just to share about the wonderful platforms available that we can use as homeschoolers so that we can take on this home educating life really with joy and make it a rewarding responsibility. I ask your blessing upon everybody listening today, that their families are blessed and that they are being guided by you. And Lord, I just thank you for guiding each one of us in your good and perfect ways. In Jesus' name, amen.